Run your tongue along your back teeth right now. Feel that little ridge on the last one. There is a good chance you have a filling back there, or a crown, or a gap where something used to be, and you barely think about it. Somebody numbed you, drilled you, sealed you, and you drove home. Now hold that thought and move yourself back 9,000 years. Same tooth, same dark spot. Nobody is coming. It has been aching for 6 days. Last night, it stopped being an ache and started being a pulse. This morning, your cheek is hot and tight, and the swelling has climbed toward your eye. You have no antibiotics. You have no painkiller that works. You have no idea what an infection even is. So here is the question. What did ancient humans actually do when a tooth started to rot? Now you probably have a guess ready, and it is the same guess almost everyone has. You would assume ancient people barely had this problem. No sugar, no bread, no soda, clean natural diet, perfect teeth. That is not what happened, not even close. Some ancient hunter-gatherers had mouths that were falling apart, and they had them thousands of years before farming existed. And here is the thing. Nobody tells you about a rotten tooth in the ancient world. It was not a nuisance. It was a way to die. Not often, but often enough that people learn to fight it. And that fight is old. We have evidence of humans drilling into living teeth about 9,000 years ago. We have evidence of humans filling a tooth about 13,000 years ago. That is older than writing, older than the wheel, older than every city you have ever heard of. Dentistry is not a modern luxury. It might be one of the oldest medical crafts our species has. Start with what is actually happening inside that tooth, because it explains everything that follows. A tooth looks like a solid little rock. It is not. Under the hard enamel, there is a soft chamber, and inside that chamber sit blood vessels and a nerve. Bacteria in your mouth eat what you eat. They make acid. The acid eats a hole in the enamel. Once that hole reaches the soft chamber, the nerve gets infected, and the chamber swells. And this is where a tooth becomes cruel in a way almost nothing else in the body is. Swelling needs somewhere to go. Your ankle swells outward. Your tooth cannot. It is sealed inside bone, so the pressure has nowhere to escape, and it presses directly on the nerve. That is the pulse you feel with your heartbeat. That is why a bad tooth can stop a grown adult from thinking. Now back to that idea that ancient people had perfect teeth. There is a cave in Morocco called Taforalt. People lived there around 15,000 years ago. Long before farming, they were hunter-gatherers. And researchers looking at their teeth found something genuinely startling. Roughly half of the teeth they examined had decay in them. Half. In a group of foragers with no bread, no sugar, and no farms anywhere on the planet yet. So what were they eating? Wild acorns, pine nuts, sweet, sticky, starchy plant foods, gathered in bulk and stored. Starch breaks down into sugar in your mouth. The bacteria do not care whether it came from a farm. There is a concept in archaeology called the dietary shift, and the plain version is this. Teeth record your menu, change what you eat, and within a generation, the damage shows up in the enamel. And decay was only one road into trouble. There was a second one, and it was everywhere. Grit. For most of human history, food was ground between stones. Every time you do that, a little stone goes into the flour. Paleolithic molars are often worn completely flat, like a table. Wear them flat enough and you grind straight through the enamel and open that soft chamber yourself. No cavity required. No sugar required. Just years of sand in your dinner. So say it happens. The chamber is open, the nerve dies, and the infection walks out of the root and into the jawbone. What then? Then you get an abscess, which is a pocket of infection sitting in bone. An infection in bone does not stay put. It eats a channel through the jaw until it finds a way out. Archaeologists find those channels all the time. A neat little hole in the jawbone under a rotten tooth. drilled by nothing but pus and time. And when it drains inward instead of outward into the soft tissue of the face and the throat, that is when it kills. The swelling can close the airway. The bacteria can reach the blood. And in a world with no antibiotics, there was nothing anyone could do but sit with you. So people fought back, and the oldest weapon in that fight is one you probably used this week. The toothpick here is how we know. When you poke the same gap between the same two teeth for years, you wear a smooth, curved groove into the sides of them. Those grooves are unmistakable, and they turn up on hominin jaws going back well over 1,000,000 years. Neanderthals did it too, and on at least one of them, the grooves cluster exactly where the gums were diseased, which means it was probably not grooming. It was pain relief. Somebody was digging at the spot that hurt over and over for years. And Neanderthals may have gone further than that. This next one is genuinely strange. At a site in northern Spain called El Sidron, researchers studied the hardened plaque on a Neanderthal's teeth. Plaque fossilizes, and it traps whatever went through the mouth. This particular individual had a dental abscess, and in his plaque, they found poplar, along with traces of a mold from the Penicillium family. Poplar bark carries salicylic acid, which is the natural ancestor of aspirin. Penicillium is where we eventually got penicillin. Now, we should be careful here. Nobody can prove he understood what he was doing. He may have chewed bitter bark because it dulled the pain and never known why. That is the honest, simpler explanation, and it might be the right one. But it is a striking thing to find in the mouth of a sick man 48,000 years ago, and it points at something bigger. Long before medicine had a name, the mouth was where people were trying things. Which brings us to the part that is hard to sit with. Because at some point, chewing bark stops being enough, and somebody picks up a drill in Mehrgarh, in what is now Pakistan. Archaeologists found 11 molars with holes in them. The site is around 9,000 years old. These are not decay holes. Decay makes ragged pits. These are round, straight-sided, and clean. They were made with a bow drill, a flint point spun by a looped cord, the same tool people used to drill beads. And we know these were done on living people because the drilled surfaces show wear from chewing afterward. Read that again. They kept eating with it. They survived the procedure. There was no anesthetic. Whatever numbing existed was a plant, a drink, or nothing at all. Someone held the head. Someone else went in with a stone. And the patient lived long enough to wear the hole down. That is not a superstition. That is a procedure. It is somebody who has done this before. And once you can make a hole, the next question is obvious. Can you fill it back up at a rock shelter in Italy called Riparo Fredian? 2 front teeth were scraped out and then packed with bitumen, which is natural tar mixed with plant fibers and hair. Those teeth are around 13,000 years old. As far as anyone can tell, they are the oldest fillings on Earth. In Slovenia, a cracked canine from about 6,500 years ago was sealed with beeswax, tar and beeswax. Sticky, waterproof, moldable, and available. Exactly what you would reach for if you understood the goal. And the goal is the same as your dentist's. Goal cover, the exposed nerve. Keep the mouth out of the hole. When none of that worked, there was one option left, and it was the brutal one. Pull it. Extraction is the oldest cure and the worst one. A tooth is anchored in bone by a set of fibers, and it does not want to leave. But we can see it in the skeletons. A gap in the jaw where the bone has healed smooth and closed over. Smooth healed bone means that person lived for months or years afterward. The gap is not damage. The gap is a survival. And then farming arrives, and the whole problem gets worse. Grain is starch, and stored grain is soft and sticky. Honey shows up. Much later, Sugar shows up, and it is a catastrophe for teeth. Decay rates climb through the Neolithic and keep climbing, and it stays lethal for a very long time. This is the part that always surprises people. In the death records kept in London, in the 1600s, teeth appear as their own listed cause of death, sitting alongside fever and consumption, not tooth pain, teeth, meaning the infection got out and it killed the person. A rotten molar stayed genuinely dangerous until antibiotics arrived, which is roughly within your great-grandparents' lifetime. Everything before that was tar, beeswax, bark, stone, and nerve. Think about what that means for a second. We treat dentistry as the least serious medicine there is, cosmetic, optional. The appointment you cancel, but go back far enough, and it is the opposite. It is one of the first places humans ever tried to fix each other, before anyone could treat a fever, before anyone could open a belly and close it again, before medicine was a job, somebody was going into a tooth with a sharpened stone. Not because teeth are precious, because the pain was unbearable and the alternative was watching someone die of a hole in a bone. That is the real story of the rotten tooth. It is not about hygiene. It is about the moment a person decided that suffering was something you could act on. Somebody 9,000 years ago sat down in front of a friend in agony and decided to try. So the next time you are lying back under that lamp, half numb and mildly annoyed, spare a thought for the Flint drill. You are getting the 9,000-year upgrade. There is a whole world of these small human mysteries, hiding in things you do without noticing. Stick around if you are curious about being human.